Hello, I'm Caillou and welcome to coverage of custom standard casual matches. Today we're going to be watching a game between Philippe and Sol Invictus, and from the looks of it we're going to have a 5-color showdown. Philippe looks like he's on his 5-color upload control build, meanwhile Sol is definitively on Crest ramp. And even though Sol only has 2 lands in hand, this turn Sol can cast Humble Shepherd, which puts Sol in line to cast Crest the Waters next turn, and then from there kind of just spiral out of control, especially with Heart of the Gods and Manas in hand. On Philippe's end, having 5 lands here, an Ancestral Research will help get more card advantage, but yeah, Philippe's just drawing more lands. The short circuits can kill a Humble Shepherd, and with Sol having no other lands in hand, that could put Sol in a bind. But if Philippe decides to save the one of the short circuits, so I can't see why Philippe would do that, Sol could definitely be stuck without any land. Right as I say that, Sol gets the land. So I think Sol just taps out for Crest here. Yup. And Philippe going, those short circuits in Philippe's hand can't answer an enchantment. And Philippe saying, I've been concerned about this matchup. Yeah, and I can see why, because Philippe's only main deck answers to Crest and its threats are O-rings. And in addition to that, Philippe doesn't exactly have a fast plan. And also lots of Philippe's cards are dead here. Doxing is dead, Short Circuit is dead, unless you can fire off a bunch of triggers at the same time. And even then, if we look at Sol's hand, Anku has Indestructible. Heart of the Gods will have Hexproof by the time it comes down. Crest as a ramp deck, if your opponent isn't playing Counterspell Control, and if you get Crest out, you just dumpster control so hard. So Sol tapping for Humble Shepherd. Gotta wait for it to resolve first, buddy. But yeah, Philippe is going to short circuit the Humble Shepherd. I don't think that's how triggers work. The goat or the sheep will still be created as far as I know, because the trigger is still on the stack. So yeah, Sol does get the sheep, and Philippe gets to upload Long Journey. That is, okay, on one hand, this is good because it's a unconditional answer. On the other hand, this is problematic because it doesn't answer Crest. And once Sol gets Crest online, which in Sol doesn't have black yet, which is the last color that he needs. But once Sol gets black online, Crest will be able to just drop World Elemental, Anku, etc. And most importantly, Heart of the Gods, which has Hexproof. And Long Journey just won't be able to do anything. Anyways, Philippe casting Ancestral Research, hoping to quote-unquote draw into something, but just hits 2 more lands and another Ancestral Research. Yeah, I'm just going to upload the Long Journey. It's Philippe's only hedge in this matchup. Especially, God, Philippe has drawn 10 lands so far. That's really unfortunate. But I guess what you could say is on the other end of the table, Sol has only drawn 3 lands. So they're both in different dire states of having problems with lands. And yeah, Sol is just forced to draw go. Yeah, and without the Humble Shepherd, the sheep doesn't do anything, unfortunately, other than be there, look majestic with its art, and maybe chump block if Philippe... I don't even think Philippe runs any creatures, so never mind on that last one. So Philippe drawing into Doxing here. Honestly, just playing a land, playing Doxing, and then holding, or no, okay, I guess not. Gonna tap 3 for Doxing. What I was gonna say is that, yeah, there's no scenario here where Philippe could both hold up Doxing or play Doxing and hold up Short Circuit. But yeah, Philippe can just play Doxing, upload a Mountain, shoot Sol for 2. And, oh, kill the sheep. Interesting. I don't think, I think the sheep is inoffensive enough that you don't want to kill it. Like, it's not going to do anything. And at this point, your plan, now that Crest has a resolved, or sorry, now that Soul has a resolved Crest, your plan is really, oh god, I have to kill him before he can do anything. This is an absolute nightmare. But hey, if Soul keeps drawing into nothing but threats and not the mana to cast them, you're in a pretty good spot. But I guess Soul is just going to tap another Crest of the Waters, because as soon as Soul draws a black source, he can drop 2 threats from his hand. And this also means that, oh, and Philippe drawing into the negate 1 turn too late. Tapped out anyways last turn, so wouldn't have been able to cast it. But still, that's unfortunate. And yeah, Philippe going to do another round of digging. But even if Philippe gets an O-ring off of this, Philippe won't be able to cast it this turn. And Philippe won't have the double O-ring needed to be able to kill both Crest the Waters. Of course, if Soul continues to stumble on what cards he draws, then Philippe could be given the time to get there. But I think that at this point, it's kind of like a shaky, proposition. Anyways, Philippe gonna grab the corporate ascension that was uploaded off of Ancestral Research and cast it. This is a quote-unquote slightly faster clock than Doxing. Doxing requires, actually both of them really require 10 activations on face to be able to win. And Soul draws and casts a third Crest the Waters. This is definitely, as soon as I draw my black source, you are dead. And Philippe really wishes he had that swamp, or sorry, not Philippe. Soul really wishes he had that swamp. And Philippe drawing into another, another land. I think the plan here is probably just drop Coruscating Cityscape, or sorry, how many? Yeah, Philippe has enough to drop Coruscating Cityscape, and then upload twice, keeping up both Short Circuit and Negate, is I think the play. Okay, not Coruscating Cityscape, but we'll still have the ability to grab 2 cards, deal 4 to Soul's face, put 2 counters on Corporate Ascension, and then have either Negate or Short Circuit up. Which, Short Circuit is really relevant if Soul's only way to fix is through a Dork. But I guess instead Philippe is going to cast Farseek. He is saying, I've been drawing too many lands, and this has got to stop. Grabbed a Vacated Bar off of the Farseek, but is going to main phase, grab another card right here. Yeah, just going to grab the Mountain, hit Soul for another 2. Corporate Ascension ticks up to 3. Oh, no, sorry, up to 2 because Philippe cast Farseek instead of uploading. I almost feel like, well, Soul drawing a land, but not the one he needed. And at 4 mana, Soul doesn't have enough to cast Titanic Crusher. I think this is the worst I've ever seen Crest brick. It's also the only reason I think Philippe stands a chance here. Deep Net is really, really, really good here. Philippe, I think, is going to snap, pay 2, cast Deep Net, and then, pay 2 more, then can upload 5 cards. That gives Philippe the ability to kill Soul next turn. Yep, grabbing Deep Net. So then cast Deep Net, and then upload 4 times. That'll give Philippe 8 dead. Oh god. Wait, hold on. That gives Philippe lethal this turn. Because 2, 4, 6, 8, and then that'll be 16 damage in total. So yeah, Soul loses this turn. I mean, if Philippe sees the line. All Philippe has to do is upload 4 times using Deep Net's first ability, and then pay a bunch of life to deal a bunch of damage. And ooh, yes, Seal of Judgment is good here if even if Philippe doesn't see the line. Seal of Judgment, it's kind of like a little bit too little too late since Soul has 3 crests, but yeah. So I think this is exactly 12 damage. Yep. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Who do we appreciate? Doxing. Doxing. So I think Soul a little bit slow on the uptake, not realizing that he is, as they say, Omae wa mo shinderu, he is already dead. So I'm going to start talking about game 2 because this one's over. I'm not quite sure what Philippe has in the side. Maybe I think like Essence Scatters, if Philippe has them in the side, definitely come in. O-rings are good, but you also want like Wander the Unknowns. You want like instant speed interaction. Crest is a hard deck to beat either way, unless they have the biggest stumble imaginable. But I think, yeah, in control, you really just want to stop them from resolving Crest, then stop them from ever resolving another creature, and then have a fast clock. Okay, so we're going into game 2. Let's see what the opening hands are like. I think Philippe keeping in Short Circuit is kind of surprising. Honestly, I don't think it does. I think, okay, it kills a dork, and maybe Philippe didn't have anything better in his sideboard. Essence Scatter is very good in this matchup. If you can go the long game, it prevents Soul from doing the plan of, I'm just going to manually resolve my threats. Expansion plans, weird, but I think it can work. I don't know if it's what you want to see in an opener versus Crest. I think with 4 lands is probably a keep, though. I mean, on Soul side of things, has 5 lands, Sarasa and Farseek, which I think you're pretty comfortable with because you play Farseek on 2, next turn you play Sarasa, and then Sarasa, Soul has noted is something that he really likes in control matchups, and I'm inclined to agree. Just keep +2ing her, and then you can like filter out any lands you don't need, and hope to draw into like actual threats. So Soul just plays Spindling Nimbus, passes. Next turn he can play a Rootbound Crag into Farseek. Philippe is just going to play a Shock Fetch and pass. Probably, or just gonna, I think, get a blue source here so that he can play the Mountain and then have Short Circuit up next turn. Yep, blue source. Doxing on 3 is also good because it allows Philippe to start to like get a clock going. And Soul drew into another Farseek, so let's go Seeking. Probably has both black and white this time, so I don't really think it matters what Soul searches for. Probably something that allows him to have like probably like another blue land, blue X. I'm not sure that it matters, but then that's the only thing I could think of because that allows him to play Crest, like at some point play Crest, still have green open to cast Farseek, and then pay blue for the Crest act, like Crest Paradise. So yep, Soul does grab another blue X land like I predicted. Definitely, Philippe is definitely confused by that, saying "huh," but when you can see Soul's hand, it makes a lot more sense. Ooh, and Philippe drawing into a Zulav Rites. So Zulav Rites is really nice here because it gives Philippe like a lot of flexibility. Only Greenland is Coruscating Cityscape though. But yeah, Zulav Rites can either find Philippe another doxing, it can find him a deep net so that Philippe can do the same combo he did last game. It can also find an O-ring, which is super relevant if Soul gets something strong here. Oh god, that's a World Elemental. World Elemental used to be able to grab lands, which is very good versus control. But versus Philippe, I think grabbing a doxing, you're pretty fine with that still. So tapping 3, yeah, Sarasa. Oh, and I forgot that Sarasa herself has Voyage. That is pretty cool. So, why would Philippe do this? Just to upload a card? I guess to keep Sarasa off alting earlier, but I don't know. This feels like a bad move. Or maybe Philippe is counting on next turn play doxing, and then be able to poke Sarasa down constantly. But anyways, yeah. Soul drew into the third rootbound crag. And discarded it. Next turn, we'll be able to play a land, untap 2 permanents with Sarasa, and then World Elemental, which might be what Philippe was trying to keep Soul off of, in the sense of Philippe plays Doxing this turn, Soul -2 Sarasa. Next turn, Philippe uploads something and kills Sarasa, which, by that time, Soul has a World Elemental, and actually the World Elemental will grab Doxing, so that's not a possible line. So Philippe draws Ancestral Research. I think this is kind of one of those things where, like, it is snowballing too quick. Oh, actually, I forgot that Philippe does have the Essence Scatter, so Soul manually casting this World Elemental will be countered. But no, Philippe is going to tap out for Doxing here, not seeing that he should keep up Essence Scatter. And that mistake is going to come back to hurt him right now. Yeah, on end step, nothing else to do with this land, so just going to pay for either a black or a white with the Voyage. Yeah, black, sorry, because Soul has the plains in hand anyways. Ooh, redistricting. Definitely strong with fetches, and just good in general. It's another ramp, 2-mana ramp piece, technically, like Farseek. So I think Soul's just going to play the plains, tap 5, I hope, tapping all 5. They're gonna put 5 colors of mana. I hope Soul isn't paying for Voyage. I don't think he is. I think he's just, and then he's gonna untap 2 with Sarasa and then cast World Elemental. Yep, here we go. And there's the boy. Comes down as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5/5, not too huge. The Spindling Nimbus does preclude him from being able to be a 6/6. And on end step, Soul can grab the Doxing. And the problem is Philippe doesn't have enough mana to go Zulav Rites into an O-Ring. So Philippe will need to manually draw an O-Ring. 1, 2, 3. Oh, oops. I previously said that World Elemental would be a 5/5, forgetting that it counts itself. So it's actually a 6/6 pre-grabbing Doxing and is now a 7/7. Philippe draws a Duress, which not very good here, because Soul does have legal targets in Farseek and redistricting, but at this point Soul is already so far ahead that it doesn't really matter. I don't know what Philippe's bet. I think Philippe's best bet is like, Philippe doesn't even have a, God. If Philippe had a 4th land there, Philippe could, like, I don't know, hope to draw, like, grab a land, keep Essence Scatter up, hope to draw into, actually no, would be able to Zulav Rites next turn to grab the World Elemental, but yeah, it was not meant to be. So Philippe concedes game 2, and we're going to a game 3. Philippe's saying I should probably main deck Duress, but I disagree. Duress in this matchup is really bad, and I think that you want to have Into the Lion's Den instead. Okay, so let's look at these hands. Philippe on the play, and will have a negate mana turn 2. Turn 1, Tropical Channel, turn 2, Shadow Pillar, keep negate up, and they'll be able to counter this Crest the Waters from Soul, unless Soul decides to lead with Sarasa, which is entirely possible since Sarasa also has Voyage. Acidic Slime is really good at just eating lands. World Elemental, we saw its power last game, and being able to drop redistricting turn 2, not bad. Not bad at all. So I think these are solid keeps from both players. The triple deep net is kind of insane. Or it's not triple, double deep net. I was thinking about the triple black in the cost when I was saying that. My bad. Doesn't have the mana to quite cast it, but I think... Oh, never mind. Just as I said. So Philippe now has the possibility of casting both these deep nets. And deep net is such a good card. Like, it's a Necropotence riff, and I feel like most Necropotence riffs are either like insanely broken or they try to they dilute themselves down so much that they don't really feel like a deep like a Necropotence riff. But this genuinely feels like a Necropotence riff. It's in the sense that it feels broken as all hell. Anyways, Philippe is going to play Mushroom Bog tapped, cast Ancestral Research, and then upload Farseek, Zul of Rife, and Corporate Ascension, all three of which are good hits. Meanwhile, Soul's probably just going to grab a duo with this Vibrant Locale, and then next turn play Redistricting. So Philippe doesn't really care about anything that Soul can do on turn 2, which is why I think it was okay for Philippe to tap out there. And then next turn, Philippe can keep up Negate. Again, only having 3 lands does hurt, though, if Soul ends up in a situation like the first game, where he keeps drawing threats with nothing else. Sarasa hopefully can mitigate that, but Philippe, I think it comes down to whether Philippe is willing to, okay, first of all, is Soul willing to cast Sarasa ahead of Crest, which I think you should be okay with. And then the next thing is Philippe willing to burn the negate on Sarasa? Or will he want to save it for Crest knowing that Soul has that? Or, well, sorry, Philippe doesn't know that Soul has it, but has it in his deck. So yeah, as I predicted, Soul plays a Redistricting, immediately sacking it, and is going to use it as ramp to grab the fetch land. Or sorry, I guess use Redistricting that way. What happened? I guess had another Vibrant Locale, cracked that one for the Hidden Harbor, and then played the Vibrant Locale from grave. So Philippe drawing into another land here. I think, depending on how greedy Philippe gets, Philippe could go Coruscating Cityscape and then tap out for Deep Net, which I think would be a big mistake. I think tapping out here in general is a bad idea. I feel like Philippe should have played one of these tap land first, so that next turn, Philippe could hold up Negate, but also grab either Zul of Rights or Farseek by downloading it into his hand. But no, Philippe is going to tap out for Deep Net, and I think now is the situation where Soul will feel comfortable going Mountain. I'm going to play Crest the Waters, tap for a color, and then next turn have Crest online, drop World Elemental, but from Crest, drop Acidic Slime to kill Deep Net, like by casting it manually, and then off to the races. So I think Soul was thinking whether or not to crack the fetch on Philippe's end, but it doesn't. I think it is actually fairly. It doesn't really matter because has the red, so just taps Vibrant Locale. Actually, it does. It does matter because that means will Soul still have Paradise mana next turn? Let's see. Taps 1, 2, Tropical Channel, Vibrant Locale, Mountain, cast Crest, taps for, let's say, black. Next turn untaps blue, white, red, green. Okay, yeah, it still works out. Soul's thinking about it. I think the reason to not cast Crest here would be fear that Philippe has here it comes. Fear that Philippe has an O-ring in hand. Obviously, Philippe has the line of play a land, grab Zul of Rights by uploading it this turn, and then next turn casting it to find an O-ring. Because all of the O-rings cost 4, so Philippe needs 5 mana. Actually, I mentioned last turn that Soul would Acidic Slime the Deep Net, but I think because if Soul cheats in World Elemental with Crest, he'll just steal the Deep Net for himself, and then use Acidic Slime to blow up a Coruscating Cityscape. So Philippe is going to Farseek, and then I think probably hold up Negate and grab Zul of Rights using Deep Net. Also, I think it was a mistake for Soul to... Or I guess what Soul's thinking is crack the Vibrant Locale on end and then just pay 5 to Voyage. Also, I completely forgot that having to pay 5 to Voyage precludes Soul from being able to cast Acidic Slime that same turn. So, whoops. So yeah, I think Soul will lead with World Elemental, grab Deep Net. Next turn, Philippe will be able to Zul of Rights for an O-Ring, but then Soul can just have Acidic Slime next turn, plus like drop Sarasa to try and draw into another threat, etc. Or I keep forgetting that Soul also has auspicial things. So will Soul actually lead with auspicial Sphinx here? I think leading with World Elemental makes more sense because you just swing out for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, putting Philippe down to 11. You steal his Deep Net, which means that he has to actually. Oh, never mind. So stealing, no. Or I guess Philippe can, in response, grab Zul of Rights. But my thought was that if Philippe doesn't see the line, you can play World Elemental, swing for 7, grab Deep Net, and if Philippe doesn't use the ability to grab Zul of Rights in response, he won't have the mana to be able to download Zul of Rights and cast it next turn. So Soul cheats in Auspicial Sphinx using Crest and is going to now dig for another threat. So what did Soul grab? Soul grabbed Redistricting, and I guess had another Redistricting and a Vibrant Locale, which aren't good hits, unfortunately. Meanwhile, Soul gets another trigger from dealing combat damage and grabs Titanic Crusher off of that. So this turn, also on end step, Philippe tapped a bunch to upload with Deep Net. So yeah, I think the line is, I think the line is probably Zul of Rights, tap out for an O-Ring, grabbing Crest, and then hope to just windmill into an answer for the Auspicial Sphinx. I think Philippe's deck does not really have a good way to answer big creatures that have resolved. And the problem is, like, even if Philippe does do that, next turn, like, Soul can hard cast Acidic Slime to kill a Deep Net or a land. And then the turn after that, hard cast World Elemental, but at that point, Philippe will be able to grab Essence Scatter. So yeah, here we go. Zul of Rights for a Seal of Judgment. Or actually, could go for Doxing, and then dox the Auspicial Sphinx, and then try to just win through Deep Net plus doxing. The problem with that, of course, is that Philippe, that only works when you're ahead in life, and Philippe is very behind in life. So I think, oh no, Philippe is, okay, Philippe is going to do that. And then, is Philippe going to naturally download one of the cards so as to preserve his life total? And isn't even using doxing now. So I guess, but that makes sense trying to hold up negate. And can at instant speed Deep Net to grab the Essence Scatter, and then counters something that Soul hard casts. So Soul knows that at least one of his cards is getting countered next turn. And if Philippe's saying Seal of Judgment was my original plan, but it clearly won't cut it here. The problem is I think Philippe just dies on his next turn, because Soul just cheats in World Elemental, will probably cast Redistricting as like a bait and then cast Sarasa, or could just, I don't know. But actually, no, wait, never mind. Does World Elemental just kill here? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Plus 3 gets it to 11. Can Soul get to 2 more? If Soul casts Redistricting into Sarasa, that is lethal. Now, of course, this depends on Philippe not negating Sarasa, which I don't think is likely to happen. So here comes Sarasa, and Philippe is going to negate it. Yep. Soul then casts Redistricting, cheats in World Elemental, swings in for 12, putting Philippe down to 1 life. The problem with that is that means that Philippe can no longer use the deep net to upload any of these, and then Soul can just steal either Doxing or deep net with World Elemental, which pretty much just ends this game on the spot. I wouldn't be surprised if Philippe just concedes here, especially with 0 cards in hand. So Philippe, in response to the attack, is going to spend 8 life to kill the World Elemental, and then should take 3 from takes 3 from the Auspicial Sphinx, so puts him down to 2 life. So can't pay for anything with Deep Net. And has the mana to hard grab a Seal of Judgment and still cast it. So Philippe is still desperately fighting back here. I think that was the only topic that saved him. So going to Seal the Judgment the Auspicial Sphinx, because otherwise he just dies next turn. And then gain 3 life, putting him up to 5. The problem is, at that point, Soul just has the Titanic Crusher to kill Philippe. Yeah, Heart of the Gods, Auspicial Sphinx, Titanic Crusher, Acidic Slime. Take your pick. And Soul wins over Philippe 2-1. Good games to both players.